Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on Millions.co. We also have merchandise on Millions.co. We have t-shirts, shirts, hats, hoodies, everything that you will have to wear during this winter season. So go on millions.co under the key and go look at all of the merchandise that we are rolling out, clothes, shoes. We are going to be rolling out more and more sweatshirts, more and more sweat suits, and more sweaters. So please go and follow the key on millions.co and all my other social media feeds. Okay, now we are at week 15 of the 2025 NFL season, and the playoff picture is coming in hot. The current playoff picture is right here, right here, and the current playoff picture. This is how the current playoff picture looks right now. This is how the current playoff picture looks. So now let's get to the first matchup of week 15 that is going to start tonight, and that is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There are some storylines coming into this game, so I'm going to read out the storylines for this game right now. Kirk Cousins and the Falcons aim to play spoiler against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Instead of they reduced to play a spoiler role, the Atlanta Falcons were supposed to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers top contender in the NFC South. Instead, they reduced to playing a spoiler role. Kirk Cousins and the Falcons 4-9 visit Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers 7-6 on Thursday night in Tampa with a lot at stake for the home team. The Buccaneers were cruising along to a fifth straight division championship before running into a difficult stretch. They returned from a bye with a 6-2 record and were aiming to earn a top seed in the second half. But they've hardly played like a team that even belongs in the playoffs. The Buccaneers lost 3 straight games to winning teams, barely held on to beat the lowly Cardinals, and then lost to the dismal Saints at home. They're tied with Carolina for first place and will play the Carolina Panthers twice in the next 3 weeks. First, they have to take care of business against a team looking to ruin their season. You never want to be in this spot, Falcons coach Raheem Morris said about being eliminated from playoff contention. But really, the job is to go out and play spoiler right now. We've got Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team on Thursday night that we've got a lot of respect for, that we love to play, that always a highly competitive football game. And I expect no different. The Buccaneers control their playoff hopes. If they win their next 3 games, they'll secure the division crown before Week 18 matchup versus the Panthers. They'll have extra help against the Falcons. 6-time Pro Bowler Mike Evans is returning with wideout Julian McMillan. Evans hasn't played since he broke his clavicle on October 20th. McMillan will make his season debut after injuring his neck in the preseason. It's a playoff mentality, Mayfield said. When you're looking at it, we're playing a divisional opponent. They will love nothing more than to beat us and screw up our chances. So you are going into it expecting that. Okay, do they really have a lot on the line? Yeah, because they are trying to knock us out of the playoffs. So that's the mindset. It's a playoff mentality for us, and we have to expect to get their best. Kirk's turn. Cousins beat the Buccaneers twice last season in his first year with Atlanta. He threw for 785 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. He had 509 yards passing against them in one of those wins. Michael Penix Jr. started in week 1 when the Bucks beat Atlanta 23-20. Cousins returned to the lineup after Penix sustained a season-ending knee injury. The 4-time Pro Bowler QB is 1/3 in his 4 starts, 1-3 in his 4 starts, with 3 TDs and 3 picks and a passer rating of 76.5. I don't consider him a backup quarterback. I consider him the starter, and he has been for a long time. Bucks coach Todd Bowles said he knows where to go with the football. He's very accurate, knows the offense inside and out. So it's going to be a challenge for us, especially everyone needing to be where they need to be. The challenge is just facing the entire team. The entire team, we've got to learn from what happened last year. Appreciating Baker. Mayfield has struggled the past 4 weeks while dealing with injuries, including a left shoulder sprain that forced him to miss the second half of a loss to the Rams last month. But Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich expects to see the guy who has an MVP candidate over the last half of the season. He's Houdini. You want him against some of the best defensive lines in the league, and he feels collatered down, sacked, and all of a sudden, not only does he get out of it like most impossible situations, then he makes a play, Albrecht said. So it's just he's good, and I've seen it in a long time as far as the competitor that he is, the toughness that he demonstrates. Stopping Bijan. Dynamic Falcons running back Bijan Robinson leads the NFL with 1,683 scrimmage yards. He has 1,081 rushing yards, led by run-stuffing nose tackle Vita Vea. The Buccaneers are 9th against the run. However, they allowed 136 yards to Jahmyr Gibbs in Week 7 and 147 yards to Travion Henderson in Week 10. Robertson's high in 5 games against Tampa is 63 yards. He's averaging 3.9 yards per carry against them. Extending drives. The Buccaneers were 2 for 7 on 4th down last week, failing to convert 4th and 1 twice and 4th and 2 once. Falcons have the league's second worst 3rd down conversion rate at 31%, only better than the Titans, and were 1 of 13 on 3rd down last week against the Seahawks. Not so special teams. The Falcons allowed a 100-yard kickoff return touchdown and had a field goal block in last week's 37-9 loss to Seattle. They're last in kickoff return coverage, allowing 31.2 yards per return. The Buccaneers are 5th worst, giving up 27.9 yards per kickoff return. The Buccaneers nearly lost a game earlier this season to the Jets when a blocked field goal was returned for a late score in the game. Now let's get to the point spread for everybody that is wondering. What is the point spread? It opened up at 5.5 points for the Buccaneers. Now it's a 4.5 point spread. And the Buccaneers, I see them winning this game because not only does the matchup predictor say so, but Atlanta, they don't have anything that is consistent going on with the Falcons. There's nothing consistent. You have a revolving door at quarterback. You have your wide receiver in and out of the lineup. So there is nothing cohesive that is going to tell me that Atlanta is going to win this game. But like I always say, when it comes to these division games, you have to throw the records out. You have to throw point spreads out. You have got to just sit down and watch this game unfold. But one thing I can say, I'm not going to take that chance here because I don't know what I'm going to see from the Atlanta Falcons on a week-to-week basis. So the Buccaneers are There are no safe bets, but common sense tells you the Buccaneers can win this game, and they should win this game. The next game I'm going to cover is the Browns, Cleveland Browns, and the Chicago Bears. Chicago is going to win this game no matter what. I hear that it is going to be below freezing temperatures there. So camera crew and all of the narrators that are going to be standing on the sideline and in the booth, you're going to have to bundle up because it's that time of the year. It's that time of the year when it comes to you need a big coat. Hey, go on over to my store right now, get you a big coat. And if you are going to Chicago, anybody that is watching from Chicago, please go to my store. You can get t-shirts, hats, sweaters, tank tops, whatever you need for it so that you can be warm in Soldier Field to end this game on Sunday. But as far as who I got winning this game, Chicago, Cleveland, they are on the verge of, having, they do have a losing season. And it seems like reportedly the head coach, he wants out of Cleveland. So obviously all of that is speculation right now. We don't know the entirety of the situation. And we don't know whether that is going to unfold and come to pass. But right now, the game at hand, the Browns and the Bears, I got the Browns winning. They are 7.5 point. Well, the Bears started out as a 7-point favorite. Now the point spread has moved to a 7.5 point favorite. I believe that the Bears can cover that and also win in a blowout. But the Browns have a good defense, so the Browns defense is going to keep them in the game. The next game I'm going to cover is the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I woke up this morning and I was looking at CBS NFL, and the not Buccaneers, but the Bengals, they still have a chance at making the playoffs. First, they have to win out. If they win out, they'll be 8-9, and they need to have 3 teams lose at least 1 to 2 games. So you see where the Bengals right now, if they win this game this week, they have a 2% chance. Well, currently, they have a 2% chance at making the playoffs. If they win versus the Ravens, they have a 5% chance. If they lose, all bets are off. They are down to 1%. So as of right now, let's see where the Baltimore Ravens fall. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, if they lose this game versus the Bengals, they have a 17% chance at making the playoffs. Their current percentage chance is 33%. If they, with the win over the Bengals, it increases to 45%. Now, this game is going to be one of those games where you don't really know what defense you are going to see, and you don't really know what offense you are going to see, because offensively, the Bengals, they can compete with some of the best of them. But the defense of the Bengals, they have been allowing over 30 points almost every game. Now, the last time the Bengals played the Ravens on Thanksgiving night, they dominated the Ravens in a 32-14 blowout. But I believe that the Baltimore Ravens, I do believe the Baltimore Ravens will win this game. And as you can see, according to DraftKings, the Ravens started out as a 3-point favorite. Now it's a 2.5-point favorite. So I guess Vegas and all of the other sports bettors are looking for a much closer matchup. Now, we all know that this is the AFC North. Division games, they are always going to be close in the AFC North. But I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this game because the Cincinnati Bengals, I believe that I'm not going to say everybody, but 75% of the Bengals organization, they are mentally checked out. They just need to start getting prepared for the NFL draft in April. They do. Because this season, when Joe Burrow went down in week 2, I said the season is over. And I still believe that the season is over with. You can win the rest of your games. You can have these teams and that team lose, and lose. But even if the Bengals do make it to the playoffs, does anybody think that they have a chance at getting out of the first round? I don't. But that's nor here nor there. We still have a lot of football to talk about, and there's still a lot of football to be played before we even start thinking about playoff scenarios. The next game I'm going to cover is the LA Superchargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City, you're due for one. You're due for a bounce back game. Kansas City is 6-7 right now. Last time that Kansas City had a losing record this late in the season was 12 years ago in 2013. Now we get to a point where we know that the Chargers' run defense is bad. We know that the Chiefs' offense has been a little bit punchless over the last month and a half. Now the Chiefs are a 5.5 point favorite in this game. You got Justin Herbert, who is nursing a hand injury. And like I said, that if the Chiefs win out, they can make it to the playoffs. And the Chargers, the Chargers right now, they are at the number 5th spot in the playoff picture in the AFC. Now, here is their scenarios. If the Chargers lose this game, their playoff chances decrease to 64%. Currently, the playoff chances for the Chargers are at 73%. With a win over the Chiefs, it increases to 93%. Now let me scroll down to the Chiefs. If the Chiefs lose, their chances of making the playoffs are 1%. Currently, the Chiefs have a 13% chance at making the playoffs. If they win, it increases to 19. So the Chiefs, you don't really have much gray area. So for the Chargers, you don't know how Justin Herbert is going to be. He is still injured with that hand. And I believe that the Chargers, they are going to charge it. They almost charged Monday night. They almost lost to the Eagles. But the Chargers, they have a difficult schedule down the stretch. It is just going to get difficult after they play the Chiefs. So I got the Chiefs winning this game. The next game I am going to cover is the Bills and Patriots. Now this is going to be one of the biggest games in the early window, because the Patriots are 11-2. The Buffalo Bills are 9-4. Coming into the season, I had the Patriots as a dark horse to make the playoffs. They are going to make the playoffs. So I was right about the Patriots. But now you get to a point where if you're the Buffalo Bills, you are in a position where coming into the season, you were projected to win this division outright, and then all of a sudden, early in the season, you have a young up-and-coming Patriots team that goes to your house and wins in Buffalo, and ever since they've won in Buffalo, they haven't lost a game. So whoever wins this game more than likely will win the AFC East. I am going to go with the Patriots in an upset, and it is hard to believe that the Patriots are an underdog and they are at home. But you all know how Vegas and the sports bettors work, because they expect more from Buffalo in this situation because Buffalo has been in this situation more times than not in the past 5 years. But like I always said, the balance of power in sports, it always shifts every year, year after year. You can't just have one team dominate a sport for so long because we all know that the higher ups, they start thinking that, okay, we need customer appeal and we need people to keep being interested in this sport. So that is why you'll have a certain team in an off year come out of the woodworks and give these teams and give these teams a run for their money. Now the Patriots, we didn't expect this. Buffalo Bills, we expected them to be in the thick of things come this time of year. They are in the thick of things. But let's see if Buffalo has more offensive weapons outside of Josh Allen, James Cook, Keon Coleman. They need to have more outside of those three players because when they start neutralizing Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, James Cook, where can Josh Allen go elsewhere when it comes to generating yards, when it comes to offense? Is he able to do that? We are going to see, but I'm going to go with the Patriots in this game. I'm going to go with the Patriots in this game. Now, the next game I'm going to cover, this is pretty much a game that nobody is going to watch. So I'm just going to take 15 seconds for this game. Washington Commanders, New York Giants. Nobody really cares who wins this game. It doesn't have a playoff. It doesn't have any effect on the playoffs. But if I had to, I would say New York Giants are going to win this game. Now let's go to the next game. The next game is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The temperature in Philadelphia right now, as far as their football team, it is very, very cold. I mean, bone-chilling cold to the point where it could be 30 degrees over zero and you would feel it with that wind chill of 20 degrees below zero. Philadelphia has lost 3 consecutive games. And this is right after having a 4-game winning streak. After week 10, the Philadelphia Eagles, they were 8-2. Top of the NFC. Had everything going for them. Playoff positioning was there. You had everybody booking tickets for the playoffs for Lincoln Financial Field. Now, you get to a point where you lost 3 straight, and in a season where you were really supposed to run away with the division, now all of a sudden you have the Dallas Cowboys. You have the Dallas Cowboys that are on your heels and that could possibly win out when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys schedule. So when we get to that point, the Eagles, they have a winnable schedule too. And we get to a point where the Eagles, there's a possibility where the Eagles may have to win out in order to keep the Cowboys at bay. But do I think that the Eagles can go into Buffalo and win in Buffalo in December? Now, not to say that the elements are going to have an effect, because Buffalo and Philadelphia, they always have, they've been in cold climates. But it's just something about going into Buffalo in the middle of December or early January, to the fact of where some opponents believe that they know that they're going to have a tough time trying to get a win. So the Eagles, if the Eagles somehow lose versus the Raiders, all hell is going to break loose in Philly. I mean, all hell is gonna break loose. And I usually don't use that phrase, but you got Philadelphia Eagle fans throwing things at the offensive coordinator's house, Kevin Patullo. You got Nick Sirianni that he doesn't know whether to sink or swim. You got AJ Brown, who is pretty much saying that as far as the offense needs to be more diverse. And you have a run defense that is pretty much looking like how the Cowboys looked earlier in the season. So, Philadelphia, they need to win this game against the Raiders no matter what. Or else, Monday morning, it is going to be some very, very furious folks in Philadelphia come Monday morning. The next game I'm going to cover is the New York Jets and Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars are a 13.5-point favorite, a 2-touchdown favorite. This is the first time the Jaguars have been a 2-touchdown favorite in 5 years. Well, excuse me. No. Much longer than that. In 8 years. 8 years. Jaguars, what they need to do is they don't need to mess around when it comes to a game like this. You are heavy favorites and you are at home. You need to come out and put the New York Jets to bed. You do. And I mean you almost need to blow them out like you blew out the Colts just last week. You blew out the Colts last week. Can we have a same rendition of the Jaguars doing that to the Jets this week? Now if the Jaguars beat the Jets, and with the Houston Texans losing, Jaguars would be, dare I say, AFC South champions, and that is before we get to the next game that the Jaguars have with Indianapolis on December 28th. See, this is what I was saying early in the season. I said December 7th for the Jaguars would be a big game, and December 28th. But now we get to the point where even though the Jaguars split the season series versus the Texans, if the Jaguars keep winning, they won't even have to worry about the Texans, because the Texans, I believe they started their winning streak too late in the season. I believe so. So I have the Jaguars winning this game, obviously, and I have the Texans winning their game over the Colts. See that? I talked about 2 games in the same segment. The next game I'm going to cover is the Green Bay Packers and Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have won 10 straight games, America. There has to be a loss somewhere in this for the Broncos before the season ends. They need to have a loss somewhere. They do. Do I think that it is going to be this game that they are going to lose? I believe so. I do. I believe so, because offensively, we look at the Broncos. There have been times this season where the Broncos in the first half have looked like complete and utter trash. Now, I like Bo Nix. I like what Sean Payton is doing, but you cannot get off to slow starts and expect to be in the playoffs and get off to slow starts in the playoffs. So the Broncos, like I said, the Broncos right now, they have home field advantage, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. The Broncos, they are in the running for home field advantage. And Now, one thing that the Broncos need to work on is getting off to faster starts because we know what that defense is. Broncos defense is top 5 in the NFL in every category. So I'm not worried about the defense, but I am worried about the offense because the offense is, I'm looking at my other chart. The offense right now for the Broncos is 18th in the NFL right now. For all of you that are wondering what I'm looking at my other NFL chart with the statistics. So, Broncos have the 18th ranked offense in football right now. And I do believe that the Packers as a defense, they will have a better day against the Broncos because you have Cortland Sutton, then you have their running backs, and then sometimes it's hard for me to watch Bo Nix throughout the entirety of a game because some games he looks like he can be on like popcorn. He can be 25 of 36 for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then you have other games where he is 17 of 35 for 250 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. So you don't know what Bo Nix you are going to get. So I got the Packers going into the Mile High City and winning this game. The next game I'm going to cover is the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. I believe the Los Angeles Rams are going to win this game. I believe that the Lions, they are too late in the game. They are 8-5. They still have a fighting chance at the playoffs, but they need a lot of teams that are in front of them to fall on their face. They need the Bears to lose out. They need the 49ers somehow to lose out, and I don't see that happening because the 49ers, they have the Colts on their schedule, and we already know how the Colts are. So once we get to the Lions, they have no margin for error. The Rams, they are the top team in the NFC. I see the Rams winning this game, no matter what. The next game I'm going to cover is the Panthers and the Saints. I'm just going to take 15 seconds with this. You have Bryce Young, who is improving, and you have the Saints. It was pretty much a rebuild year for the Saints. We didn't expect them to do anything, so I got the Panthers winning this game. Next game I'm going to cover, Titans versus 49ers, another blowout potentially. 49ers are going to win this game no matter what. Let's see. Next game I have on the list, Colts versus Seahawks. 10-3 Seahawks, 8-5 Colts. They have a new quarterback at the helm. They may have Riley Leonard for the Colts, or Phillip Rivers may start for the Colts. But all in all, this is going to be another blowout. The Seahawks, I got them winning this game. The final 2 games of Week 15, Sunday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are back on Sunday night again. The Dallas Cowboys are a 5.5-point favorite. And I do believe that my boys are going to come through and win this game because we have to win out. The Cowboys have to win out and hope the Eagles lose at least one game to make it to the playoffs. But right now, the Cowboys, only thing they have to do is take care of business. And one thing, and the next game that they have to take care of business in is the Minnesota Vikings. And I believe that the Cowboys will win this game. So it's still hope in Dallas for us to make it to the playoffs. And me, I am a Cowboys fan, diehard Cowboys fan through and through. You see, I have on a blue shirt. No matter what, my favorite color is blue anyway, and I love that the star on the helmet is a metallic blue. It's metallic blue. So the Cowboys, are going to find a way to win this game. The final game of Week 15 is the Miami Dolphins versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody last week was talking crap about Mike Tomlin, saying that, oh, maybe Mike Tomlin needs to go to this team. It may need to be a change in scenery and all of this other foolishness. But Mike Tomlin, he has a chance at having a winning record for the 19th consecutive season. I keep on telling y'all, this man does not lose. This man does not lose. And Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win over the Miami Dolphins, because Miami, they are great and all of that, but we already know what Miami is going to do. They already fired their GM early in the season. So Mike McDaniel, he's coming back. The Dolphins are going to hire a new GM in the offseason. And I believe that next season will be Mike McDaniel's last season if the Dolphins don't have a winning record. I believe that Mike McDaniel, if the Dolphins start off next season like they started off this season after 5 games, starting off cold and, being 4, maybe 5 games under 500, I believe Mike McDaniel will get fired. But as for the Steelers, you got a chance to go up, be 2 games up above 500. And how everybody was saying before Thanksgiving the sky was falling and Mike Tomlin needs to go, Mike Tomlin is staying because he has 4 more years left on his contract. I can't believe that people are saying that Mike Tomlin needs to go. Now, one thing that I can say is that we all know in sports from a business standpoint, we all know that some people, they need a change in scenery. But Mike Tomlin, he's always had the Steelers in the playoff conversation. This is why I always go back to when everybody start talking foolishness about Dak. Dak has always had the Cowboys in playoff contention. I can tell y'all something. I'd rather be a team going into every season being in playoff contention when we get to December rather than being out of the playoffs, being eliminated from the playoffs before Thanksgiving. That's how I think about it. I'd rather have a quarterback that is going to keep me in the playoffs and in the playoff scenarios well after Thanksgiving. So all in all, those are my predictions for Week 15 of the 2025 NFL season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, The Key on Millions.co. We also have merchandise and apparel out on Millions.co right now. Here is the current playoff picture for the AFC and NFC in the NFL. And remember, everybody, one last thing. The key is always on time.